So, what are a couple of things that you could recommend somebody who's maybe in a dark spot and maybe they've been in a dark spot for a little bit of time? So much so that maybe it's kind of becoming their identity a little bit.
Yeah.
But they do see a light. They're
Yeah.
like, you know what? I do want to do it differently. What are some things you could recommend them to do that are not scary?
Yeah. So thank you for asking that. It's really important to understand that it happens to the best of us. We
Mm,
all have ups and downs. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And that's the first step, right? To realize that it's not your fault. And you can look for causes, but it's not so helpful to look for culprits, right? So try to shift this mindset of naming and blaming for a mindset of causes and responsibility, right? So maybe I did some things to myself, or someone did something to me. Maybe I was a victim of abuse. Maybe there are social systemic causes to my issues right now. It's good to be aware of the causes, but try to take the blame out of it. Try to take the guilt off it, and try to find a support network, a safe space, like you were saying, like this group is already a great space where you can reach out if you feel that you need help. And sometimes just being able to state what's been happening to you is the first step to get out of the shame cycle,
mm,
right? Because normally when we don't dare to say something out loud, it's because we're ashamed of it.
mm.
And I say it all the time as a therapist. And I became a therapist because of my own trouble. I attempted suicide. I was chronically depressed. I was chronically anxious for many years. And I think it's important that more and more people can say this openly and realize there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There are so many fucked up things in society.
Yeah.
It's only normal that we get a little bit mentally ill now and then. So try to, yeah, relativize it, find the bright side, try to be able to say it to, maybe not in the group if you don't feel comfortable, but find someone, a therapist, a relative, a friend. So acknowledge the situation, right? If you don't want to talk to anybody, journal, write it down. You can write a letter to yourself. You can write a letter to God, but get it out of your system. And then find things on the daily that give you joy. Because as you were saying, for some people, if they're at a dark place, going all in with meditation and with deep therapy practice can be scary in the beginning.
Yeah.
So easy things you can do, and this has been proven by neuroscience to work, as well as medication for OCD patients,
Mom.
right? Is to pattern interrupt. Whenever you go into a negative spiral of thinking, you stop, you choose to consciously stop the negative thinking and go do an activity that you enjoy instead. And it can
Mm,
be anything. It can be a walk in the park. It can be baking. It can be playing your favorite song and dancing along in your living room. It can be taking a bath, you know, walking your dog, playing with your kids, anything really. Just that pattern interrupt over time allows for neural rewire. So neurons that wire together, they fire together, they wire together. So over time, the more we practice better thoughts, better feelings, better activities, the more we become attuned to that. And we slowly leave behind us the victim mentality, the identity that we had as depressed people, as strong people. And we've all been there. There's nothing wrong with that because we've all been victims of something at some point,
yeah.
right? But the point is how can we learn from that and move on? And maybe in the beginning you're not ready to forgive yet, you're not ready to learn the lesson yet. But if you want to enjoy life, you can always find small things that you can do on the daily, and also trying to develop a gratitude practice, because gratitude is the most healing emotion together with with love. But if you cannot access love on its own, just counting your blessings on the daily. You can do it out loud. You can do it with your kids. If you have kids, it's a great thing to do in the morning while having breakfast, while getting them ready for the day, just counting your blessings together. However you can pull it off, just do it and acknowledge yourself, celebrate yourself for every little accomplishment, and forgive yourself for the days that you can't, because we've